Okay, so let's talk about permalinks. First, what are permalinks? So permalinks are just the links to your pages or your media files. Every single page and every single media file has its own link. So I clicked on the about page, and then this right here is the permalink for this page. So even with your media files, so we go back into, let's look at the media that you have in a site. So let's go ahead and just click on an image. This right here would be the permalink, or the URL. It's the same thing. So it's the URL to the image. So I copied it, put it in my browser, and it takes me directly to that image. So that is the image link. But we're not going to talk about the links or the URLs for media files. We're going to really just talk about the links or permalinks for your pages and your posts. So let's say you create a new page and you need to change the permalinks. You need to update it to something that is, that makes more sense. Typically, when you create a page or a blog post, that permalink is automatically created by WordPress, automatically, where you don't even have to do anything. So like, for example, if I go in and create a new page, let's go in and just say test new page example, and then I'll click somewhere else, and then WordPress is automatically going to create it right here. It'll pop right up. So this is the link that is automatically created by WordPress. And typically this is what you want to use. You want to make sure that your page's name is the exact same as the permalink. But sometimes, there's special cases, and that's not always going to be the case, and that's fine. You can change it. I will say that if you create a page, you make it live, you share it, you put it on your site, and maybe the page has been around for a while, or you share the link with folks anywhere, and then you change the permalink. That's a big no-no, just because everybody knows that link, and then if you change it, it's going to create an error on your site. If a 404 page will pop up, and the user will get an error on their end because the page is no longer existing. So for example, like, let's say I'm going to go ahead and publish this page really quick, and I'm just going to go ahead to go for testing purposes. I'm going to go ahead and go to that page. So here's the page. Okay, it's a blank page. We didn't do anything with it. We're just testing out the permalink here. So let's say I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to change it. I'll just put test, and that will be the new permalink and update. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's going to be the new link for this page. Now, if I go back here and someone already has this link, and they go to this page, I'm going to go ahead and refresh it. It's going to go to a 404 page saying that page doesn't exist, and this can be a big problem, especially if you've already made the page live. So you really don't want to change permalinks after you make it live. You only want to do that if you really have to do it. But if you don't, then I would advise against that. So if you want to change a permalink, make sure you change it, and make sure that you do it before you make the page live. And you could change it as many times, and then change it to whatever you need it to be, and make sure just think of it, that's going to be the permanent link for that page. You want to think of it that way. Just because you can change it doesn't mean that you should. So it should be something that's permanent. So here we go. We went ahead and changed it. And as you could see, it was really easy. You would just go into the WordPress editor and click edit here, and you could change it to whatever you need to change it to. Now, let's say I were to put this back, and I'll just copy and paste it. And there's these spaces here. WordPress automatically adds dashes in between the words, and make sure that all the characters are lowercase. So that's just best practice. So WordPress automatically does that for you, which is nice. You could just copy and paste what you need in there. So keep that in mind, that number one, best practice is to make sure that there is a dash in between each word. We do not want a permalink to not have any dashes in between words. So I've seen a lot of people do this, and this is really bad. One, it's not readable. It's ugly. People can't read to see what that page is. And two, Google can't read it either because it just looks like random characters. The dashes actually lets Google know, if you're concerned about SEO and search engine rankings, that, putting the dash lets Google know that those are separate words. So that is really important there. Just keep that in mind, that you don't want to jumble all the words together. Another thing is, I've also seen people use underscores. Back in the day, this used to be okay. A lot of people used it. But I highly recommend not using it. One is it's also ugly, but it's just better practice to do dashes. So avoid underscores if you can. No one uses that anymore. It's just not good UX. So we want to make sure that we just use the dashes. So there we go. Let me just click OK, and it's automatically changed. So I want to show you another way on how to update your permalinks, because the way I just showed you was by creating a new page in the WordPress editor. But for the most part, you wouldn't be creating a page in this way. You would most likely be cloning a page through Elementor. So for example, we're in here and you wanted to use one of these pages as a template. You would probably just click clone or something similar to that, duplicate. So you could clone a page. So I'm going to go ahead and clone this page. Let's pretend we're going to use this About Us template. And okay, here I cloned it. It's a draft. Now, to edit the permalink for this page I cloned, you can either click quick edit. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this About Us, put it in here, and click update. And then, or another way is click edit. So go ahead and click on that, and it'll take you to the WordPress editor, which is what you were seeing before. And this is the best place to edit the permalink. You can't really do it through the Elementor editor. I think you can actually, but it's just not as user-friendly. So this is the better way to change permalinks, is to use the WordPress editor. And so as you could see right here, it added a -2 to this page. That's because there's already an About Us page, so you can't have two pages with the same permalink. That's just impossible. So WordPress is going to add a -2 or -3 or whatever it needs to add to distinguish the page from another page if it has the similar permalink. So just make sure that you update that accordingly by just putting in your permalink and then changing it here. So that is how you change a permalink. A couple of things I want to mention about permalinks is that typically your permalink should be the page's name. So try to keep it as consistent as possible. Now sometimes that's not always going to be the case, because let's say you do some sort of special landing page, and if the page title is long, you don't want that to be the permalink if it's a landing page where you're sharing the link, just the link for people to go to. So sometimes you want to do that. You want to create a landing page with a very short permalink, so you can verbally share that page link to anyone. If that is the case, then that's when you want to customize your permalink to something that is a little different from your page's name, and you can do that. It could just be one word or something that's easy to remember. That's not always going to happen. I don't recommend doing that all the time. The standard should be the page's permalink matches the page's name, if you can keep that as consistent as possible. But it's not always the case, and that's okay too. Every once in a while you won't have that, so that's okay. So I think I covered everything about permalinks, but let me know if you have any questions, if I've missed anything. Thank you.